You're listening to Montreal Now on CJAD 800.
That is James Mennie of the Montreal Gazette. Oh, James.
Oh, David.
Has the federal government started growing a pair?
Well, I don't know. This is such a nascent moment for me because I just heard you being interviewed on the news at the very topic we're talking about. So it's kind of crazy. But, we heard you. For those of you who are just joining us and didn't hear the news, David, who's a former provincial immigration minister, basically said that, Ottawa is getting a hard nose here and is pushing back on Quebec, dragging its feet over the red tape about family reunification for immigrant families coming to, I guess, landing in Quebec, all of it part of the process of coming to Canada. That's fine. That I will not dispute that analysis, David. But let's take it a step further now. How do we apply this to caribou? Because it's one thing. Mark Miller, I figured he telegraphed this last week. He was even saying after they had this psychodrama with the four talking head cabinet ministers talking about a humanitarian crisis on immigration and how they don't have any money, they needed $1 billion from Ottawa, and Mark Miller finally surfaced and said, you know what? I don't think you guys have ever been serious about talking to us about immigration. To tell you the truth, And I thought, okay, that's cool. And this would fall in with this rather nicely, but what the heck is going on? Because we've got Steve Guilbeault, the federal environment minister, turning around and shaking the finger at Quebec and says, "Don't make me come down there with those caribou because I'm fed up now. You've been saying you're going to do something with the caribou, and you are not. If I have to act, if I have to pass legislation, I will." And I just find it very strange, David, to see representatives of a federal government, a regime under Justin Trudeau, which I have most charitably described as timorous, suddenly turning around, like you say, having grown a set, and you're wondering what the heck is going on. And is there some pinhead, in the bunker in Ottawa who's turning around saying, well, now we have to sort of assert ourselves because, you know what, the numbers really suck big time. We're going to have to start, staking out our territory. So, it's like back in the day, boys, go into the bar and find yourself a face you don't like. I mean, and this is what it's going to be from now on between Ottawa and Quebec, because all of a sudden it may be that they figure a good scrap's going to clear the air, going to make Justin appear like something less than the historically remembered political wimp that he has been, quite demonstrably for the past few years. But yeah, I just find it these things are not happening in a vacuum. Nope. For all I know, maybe next month's budget speech from Chrystia Freeland is going to feature her throwing a chair across the house. Who knows? But obviously the tone seems to be changing. I don't think it's coincidence.
But I'm wondering if you see this as being an overall strategy, or is this just two isolated cases? Because, for example, here is what's coming up. You're going to have the Supreme Court challenge on 21. Mm-hmm. You're going to have also both on the Dentacare program and the Pharmacare program, a showdown with the Legault government. So, I mean, do you think this will really expand and this is going to be a strategic shift for the feds leading up to the next federal election?
I think, if nothing else, we've seen that the poll numbers suggest that the once unassailable Mount Everest-like popularity of the CAQ is gone, and it keeps shrinking with every passing month. And I think right now they might be a prime punching bag candidate for a government which is equally desperate for support, which is the Trudeau Liberals. So, yeah, I think it's entirely possible that they will accelerate this, that indeed by the time they finally get around to intervening in Bill 21, and who, God knows, perhaps even with Bill 96, who knows how this is going to play out, but certainly with Bill 21, I don't think it's going to be the kind of, tentative kind of law. Well, we'll see. We have a duty to sort of ask what business and preemptive use of them. I think they're going to go in and essentially say, Quebec wanted a fight, it's got to fight. Simple as that. The tone will change. People will get riled up. And I think maybe someone's finally saying, given the amount of anger our government has provoked among Canadians, perhaps we can channel it to our advantage by becoming a little more aggressive, a little more forthright in what our agenda is. Because let's face it, David, for the past few years, it's been very difficult to figure out what the Trudeau government has been about whatsoever, as far as
Absolutely.
I can
No, I totally agree with you. Have you seen any type of rapid response from the Legault government today on this?
tell. No, and I don't think spring break's an explanation. I think they are really, I think to a certain extent, they're taken aback by this. The fact that they were not expecting this or expecting this kind of, tough talk or whatever from the 4-seat holding Parti Québécois or the increasingly irrelevant Quebec Liberal Party. Nobody really cares what they say, but for a government that's going to be in office at least for another couple of years and that essentially is holding the purse strings, that no matter how much, Francois Legault huffs and puffs, it's still their purse, and they can open and close it at their discretion. I think they're really going to have to figure out a way. Either they come out hard, if you know what I mean, equally hard, equally ready for a barroom brawl, or the phones have been going all afternoon because, as I say, I think these are pretty clear signals. They're not coincidence, and maybe the idea was suggested last week when, in fact, Mr. Miller said, I don't think you guys have been serious about talking. Maybe today they'll get serious about talking.
Moving on, a point that you took issue with is about car sales in Canada.
Did you see that today?
No, I didn't.
Story.
I didn't
love
see
this
it.
Story because
Tell me.
The numbers are national. Okay. But because Quebec is always at the forefront, okay, the sale of cars in Canada hit an all-time record for the month of February.
Wow.
Okay. It increased by 24.4% compared to February of the previous year, 129,000 units sold. Now, David, I'm sure there were a few electric vehicles in there.
Oh, sure.
But given the numbers comparing for 2023 was the busiest year, all of 2023, busiest year for automotive sales since 1997. Okay? So, I mean, I kind of laugh with tears in my eyes when I see these numbers because when someone tries to tell me, oh, yes, by 2030 we won't be selling any more internal combustion engines. Shut up. You'll be selling internal combustion engines till 2060 at least. Ain't nobody giving up their gas-guzzling car, especially not in Quebec. But I just wish, people would be upfront about it and not sort of like, clutch their pearls when someone talks about dirty energy from out west or how greenhouse gas emissions are affecting the planet, and they're saying, oh, yes, that's very terrible. They're nodding in agreement as I listen to the radio report in their fully, air-conditioned SUV sucking up about as much gas at a red light as a small country does in a year. So yeah, it's great. But as I say, I love it when these numbers come out. They're just little reminders that in the end, the slave riding with you in that triumphal chariot is telling you you're just a hypocrite like everybody else.
It's incredible because on top of that, we are in difficult economic times, right?
Yeah.
And yet people find a way to buy, and again, I haven't seen those numbers, but I'll bet you also the great majority of these vehicles are gas-powered, but also they're going to be SUVs and pickups because that's the majority. And even in Quebec, every year we're increasing our
Quebec
SUV and pickup sales to record levels.
They outnumber regular-sized cars now.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's more of the fleet.
We keep hearing government after government, and I was part of one that kept saying, oh, we are the model in terms of fighting climate change. And Stephen Guilbeault keeps, saying how amazing we are, and we're not. Let's face it, we're not reducing our emissions. We're not investing nearly enough in public transit, and people are going where their pocketbook drives them, and that's towards gas-guzzling cars.
Absolutely, and I think as well it's a matter of there is a crisis in confidence when it comes to public transit, rightly or wrongly.
Absolutely.
And people are saying rather than, and certainly we have I'm very sorry, but we have the example of the REM here in Montreal.
Come on, James.
Where a lot of people who
went
in there in good faith, completely trusting in a bold new tomorrow, have said, where's the keys to my car because I can't do this anymore.
Absolutely.
Reliability. Even price, I think people would swallow a fare hike easier than they would this complete shutdown or breakdown in reliability. And not just about the REM, about the metro buses, the whole 9 yards, and other things because of lack of funding. And so we have this vicious circle downward trend. But once again, that is being manifested in these.
But it's a
sales.
vicious. Let's be clear on this, James, and I'll have to let you go after that. But
Yeah.
it is a vicious circle.
Yeah.
But it's a vicious circles that our governments, municipal, provincial, and federal, are choosing, because we have a municipal government that, instead of funding the STM to develop the metro and bus lines, is investing in bike paths and whatever. And you have a provincial government that is doing, the backflip for a third link in Quebec City. We don't know what they're doing, giving $7 million to the LA Kings.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's all about our priorities, and in the end, it's like everyone's nudging and winking, right, David?
Right.
Because they're saying, 2030. As I just said, dream on. We've got the numbers here that prove it as well.
Absolutely, James. Looking forward to continuing the conversation throughout the week.
Demain.